welcome here to an all-new edition of the Dolphin Dive. Very excited to be here with you, and of course, during Dolphin Time, every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. First and third Wednesday of each month is AD and DT with Athletics Director Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, as in this, we have the Dolphin Dive, and we have the opportunity to feature student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. So I'm here with Adam Zaczkowski of LeMoyne history as a LeMoyne student athlete with the swimming and diving team, and of course as an assistant, and now in his first season as the head coach of the LeMoyne men's and women's swimming and diving team. So with that being said, Adam, how are you?
Well, Dan, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to have you here, back on the heights at the pool.
Yeah, and I love it here. I love this experience. Within this room, it is not winter. Within this room, it's got like that sauna feel, that warm feel. The pool looks beautiful. Everything in here is immaculate. I am transformed down to Florida when I'm in here. So you are my way of staying in an eternal summer, I guess I'll say.
It might not be sunny, but we're always 82, humid, it's great. It's never winter inside here.
It's absolutely a beautiful experience. And speaking of beautiful experiences, we've been able to tell so many stories here with LeMoyne College and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. I got to stand here with you and be the exclusive interview of when you accepted the job. So from the moment when that happened and you accepted this position to now, we've had some months here in between, and just what the journey's been like for you.
It's been a quick and long 6 months. When we first met back in May, we're kind of tailoring down the school year. The students were on their way out.
Yeah.
Summer was coming in, so it was a natural kind of calm period here. And as we transitioned through the summer, got back to the school, getting up and going. At the end of August, we had our first practice. Early September had our first practice. And we've been going since that point, and it's been long days, long nights, but it's been tremendous in terms of athletic performance.
And we look at the meets that you've had up to this point, just what you can say about what you've seen from the men's and women's swimming and diving teams as you've embarked on this season, and as you've had an opportunity to see what those long nights and long days have turned into. How has it been so far?
Well, I'd like to tell people that we work half days around here. So we work 12 hours, usually it's about 5:30 to 5:30, maybe longer, especially once you get into the recruiting season. But those days, Coach Hanna did a tremendous job over his 33 years here, really kind of building a foundation both of cultural expectations, work ethic, and we've kind of dovetailed that a little bit. And some of the big changes that we've made up until this point kind of flip-flop the schedule around. And so what does that mean? Well, we used to be primarily an afternoon swim team, so we would have our practices at the end of the day after classes end. Well, what we realized, and kind of based on my expertise here at LeMoyne, is that there are no classes every day between 6 and 8 a.m. And so there's no conflicts between 6 and 8 a.m. So we, from day one, we've been going 6 in the morning, and it's been a big time shift. But we got some pushback here and there, but the athletes have taken it in stride and really been spectacular in their effort. And getting 18 to 22-year-old college students awake before noon is hard. 6 a.m. is even harder.
Yeah, but doing that and knowing that you get to start your day off with being with your team, having that camaraderie and that connection, like you said, hard to get up early, some pushback in the beginning, but have you seen that the student athletes have seen the value?
Yeah, swimming is an endurance sport, both physically and emotionally. You don't get anything quick out of swimming. And so certainly those early weeks in September where we were getting up at 6:15, there was a lot of pushback. Why are we doing this? For what purpose? And getting people to buy in and be committed at that 6:15 time slot, well, that makes them committed on the weekends too.
Yeah.
And so when we get to our swim meets, and we had our mid-season championship here last weekend at Ithaca College, we had season best or lifetime best swims out of every person on the team. Male, female, didn't matter if it was short events, long events, everybody had season best or lifetime best, and it all came to a head that weekend.
And when you look back on that, what do you think attributed to season best, lifetime best across your teams?
Well, we talk here at LeMoyne Swimming kind of two different ways. One, it's a partnership between me and my coaching staff and the swimmers.
Yeah.
We don't tell them to do things. We work together with them to get them to a common goal. And then we also talked about kind of three things that we focus on in day-to-day thing. And if you do these three things, you will be successful not only today, but everything in life. You have to be successful, you have to train and compete hard, and you have to do all those things with integrity. If you do those three things, we know that we'll be successful in the pool and out of the pool.
And how do you define success? Because, you know, it's easy to look at it in wins and losses, right? But if life was just about wins and losses, there would be so many losers. Everybody would have lost.
Right.
So how do you define success beyond wins and losses?
Success in swimming typically has to do with, did I get faster?
Okay.
Was I able to do the distance that I do in a faster time? Typically speaking, that's how we define success. You know, in the broader swimming world, success, unfortunately, is sometimes defined as who got top three at the Olympic Games, right? Because we know who got first, second, and third in those medals, but we don't remember that fourth place person.
Right.
But success here on the heights is different. We have success Sundays and things that happened in the week that have nothing to do sometimes about swimming. Who got into grad school? Who got accepted to an internship? Who had, got an A in a paper? So the successes are both academically and athletically here. And yes, wins and losses and dual meet records are easy to track, but there's always little wins every day.
And you talk about success Sundays. Is that something that you implemented?
Mm-hmm. So of course someone's swimming now, so there we go. You got the full picture, everybody. So one of the changes we made while when I took over is we took in the mornings. It was a trade. We do 5 mornings a week, but I give them now Friday afternoon off.
Yeah.
They get Saturday off. But now we have practice on Sundays, and so we those are special practices, those Sunday things, because that's when we talk about our success Sundays. It's what did we do the previous week, and what are we going to do the following week.
And as you dovetail those to say, this is what we have done, this is what we're planning to do, but to have that moment in the middle to say, let's be proud of something.
Yep.
Let's be happy about something that could have to do with swimming, or could have something to do with personal life, or student life in general. How vital is that for you to have that dovetail where you come out of a week that might have been stressful, might have been hard? Maybe somebody had someone pass away.
Right.
Maybe somebody didn't get into grad school, or maybe something happened in a swim meet that they were down on themselves about. So to find the positive, to start and restart and refresh, just how important it is for that. Because I feel like as Americans, a lot of us just keep going, right?
Yep.
Just keep going, keep going, keep going. But a lot of people don't stop at the end of the week and say, what am I happy about? What am I proud of? What can I build on? So how have you found that to be a gift that keeps on giving, to come out of a week, find something good to carry to the next week?
There's a lot in that question, Dan. I'm going to have to think about it. There's a lot there. But when we talk about swimming and success in swimming, you can swim hundreds and thousands of yards, and the difference of being, quote, faster is 6 inches. And so we have to come up with ways to define that success through little things. Did you do more push-ups this time? Did we do a test set and you went faster for longer?
Yeah.
When we have those Sundays and we have the ability to reflect and we have the ability to kind of take a breath, it lets us live in the moment. We don't worry about what happened yesterday. We don't worry about kind of what's happening next, tomorrow. It's right now. What's our focus right now? we work with a group out of Pittsburgh called Transcendent Coaching, and they've talked to us about this notion of win. It's not winning who gets first, it's what's important now. And on Sundays, it's about winning. What's important now to get us ready to go for the week.
And for you to discover the importance, what have you found to be most important that you've leaned on in this opportunity as a head coach, that within these last few months you've sat back and said, okay, you know what? I thought maybe this list of things was important, but I didn't know about this. Like, how do you combine? Because I find when you work to be a leader and not a follower, you have the things you think are important, and some of them continue to be, and then some of them leave the list, and then you have that list of things that you didn't anticipate were going to take so much importance. So what's your important list look like right now?
Okay, so before I got into coaching, this was after I graduated LeMoyne, I got into the corporate world, and one of the things that the sales manager I had at the time talked to me about was life is about juggling. Everything's a big juggling act. And you have rubber balls and you have glass balls. And the rubber balls, when you're juggling, you can drop because they're going to bounce back up and they're going to go right back in the cycle. Glass balls can't drop. You can't drop them or they're going to break, right? So what does that mean? It means that rubber balls tend to be kind of when we talk about practice planning, it's not necessarily what am I going to do today. Maybe that rubber ball is like, what's tomorrow? We can spend a little bit of time on that later in the afternoon. What's important now? Well, I have an athlete right now that has the flu, and how is she going to deal with her classes? Because we have finals coming up next week. How are we going to help her? She can't really be around people. How are we going to help her get the books and the food and all the other things that we have to do to get her successful? So our what-to-do list has a lot to do with things that are aspirational things like you have, I'm sure. Yeah. And there are things that have to get done today. And so for us, it's a constant to-do list, but we like to call it an accomplish list when it's done.
Yeah, and I love that. And I value what you said about the rubber ball and the glass ball. As soon as you said those two things, I thought the glass ball, the undroppable, is your health.
Yeah.
Right? Your wellness. You talked about a player who is out sick, and what do you do to make sure that they have what they need? The glass ball, a lot of us think is a rubber ball. We can just drop it, right? We don't need to sleep. We don't need to eat healthy. We don't need to take care of our bodies. We don't need to exercise because we have all these things we have to do and all this work that we have to do that we have to get done. I've realized that glass ball of health, wellness, with all the things that I do in my day, in my week, my month, my year, that I was dropping that glass ball. Have you had to check yourself wellness-wise and say, when you're working half days of 12 hours, that, you know what, I can't drop this glass ball, I need to sleep, I need to eat, I need to have a regimen that is going to structure myself to make sure that I'm taking care of me, because I can't be a good coach, a good leader, a good teacher, a good friend, a good husband, a good everything if I'm not taking care of the health side. Because I feel, again, as Americans, we used to laugh at other countries that would work all day, sleep at work, get up 2 hours later and go back to it, but we've kind of become that society.
Right. It went from swimming to kind of more of a overwhelming or overarching kind of conversation, and I appreciate that. I know that if I'm going to be a good father, a good husband, and a good mentor to my athletes, I need to take care of myself first, right? So yes, that means I have to go to bed. That means that we have quiet hours we've established where, yes, student athletes have access to me many hours a day. But there are times during that day where I need to be focused on myself, my two boys, and Erin, my wife. And so we started that back in August. But when you put yourself first with health and well-being, sometimes you get this feeling of being selfish. Like I have to do this for me. I can't deal with you right now. But what I've realized is that if I don't do that, then I'm not only harming myself, but I'm not giving you that attention that you need. Yeah. And so it's important that by taking care of myself first, it allows me to cast a wider net and help more people.
Yeah. And I love that you said cast a wider net when we talk about the pool and all the things that are going on here.
Yep.
You mentioned Aaron and your boys.
Yep.
How have you adjusted as a family to you being a head coach?
Well, luckily, I found the right girl, and she was a swimmer her entire life. So, you know, it's one of those things, Dan, that I don't really know what to do with myself in the evening other than swim, because I've been doing that for 30 years. I don't really know what else to do with myself in the weekends other than swim, because I've been doing that for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, prior to 2019, when I came on staff here, I was the head age group coach of a local swim team called the Syracuse Chargers. And so swimming and this lifestyle has been kind of what I've done professionally for a long time.
Yeah.
What I didn't know was now the head coach, there are all these things that pull me in all different directions.
Yeah.
And if I don't prioritize myself like we talked about, or my children, or my family, then somehow kind of that work seeps in and kind of steals your attention. So it's constantly focusing on winning what's important now, and lots of times that has to be my children, especially after 5:30.
Yeah. So you learn, you grow, you evolve, and then you deliver. You know, and so there's a lot of beautiful things that come with that. Adam Zaczkowski here with us, LeMoyne men's and women's swimming and diving. We're in the pool. I love the atmosphere in here, and I do. I want to jump in right now, but I really like my suit. I do, and I have made. Maybe we need to do this for something together, but I've made predictions before where I will jump in the pool if I lose or if I win. So we might have to put something together for that.
Well, you know, the big tradition in the swimming world is after that big race or you win the conference or something big happens, you always got to push the coaches. That's the big thing that the kids look forward to, the student athletes look forward to. So I'm hoping that we're going to have one of those moments where I get that push in the pool, because it's special when you get those days.
And I love that it's a play on the Gatorade, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a play on the Gatorade, but instead of the water being thrown on you, you get thrown into the water.
Yep, absolutely.
Which is really, really cool here. So a final note, as we are here in season, you talked about the mid-season meet and opportunity that you just had here recently at IFCA. So how do you go forward from here, and what can you say about where the teams are at?
Right.
And what the rest of this journey is going to look like? So
in the swimming world, it never really ends and it never really starts. It's a continual process. So where do we go from last weekend? Well, we got yesterday off, and we're getting today off because we need some recovery. But tomorrow morning, 6:15, back in the water, right? Refocusing everybody to get to Northeast 10 championships in February, right? So it started in August and it continues. In my office, Dan, I have a 120-day planner, so we're already planning out to April 5th at this point. So we're just continuing to keep that ball rolling. But practically, you have to tell the swimmers and the divers, this is where we're going. This is what the calendar looks like. This is what you can expect, because we talk about that partnership. What do they need? What do they want? And how do we build in a plan that makes sense? So practically, we have practice until the end of the week. Finals are next week. Everybody gets about a 10-day break at that point. And once we come back on December 27th, the following morning, we're going to fly out to Tampa. Not quite Orlando where you habitate all the time, but Tampa, a little bit west there.
Love Tampa.
Yeah. And
St. Pete's Beach is my favorite beach on the planet.
We're going to Largo.
Okay, all right.
So,
Good
there you
stuff.
go. Yeah. So we'll be down there from the 28th of December to the 4th of January. Fly back. We have our training period at that point. Back into dual meets, starting off January 10th at Alfred University. We have our senior night on January 13th here against Nazareth. Two more tournament meets after that, and then we get focused for conference championships that second weekend in February at Worcester Polytech in Massachusetts.
And I love the fact that right after Christmas, you're going south. Mm-hmm. Very smart.
Yes.
And I believe that I may be around that area around the same time.
All right.
Maybe Florida, maybe Texas, might be somewhere in that world, but I always try to find my way down to Florida and I love the Tampa area and love what I get to do down there. So very much looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
Before we finish up this edition of Dolphin Dive, I find it imperative to mention something. And that you witnessed the leadership from. When you look at your swimmers and you look at your divers, who can you say at this point has really stood out and started to create an atmosphere? Because I believe that I call them leadership layers, right? So on a team, there's the leadership layers. There's you as a head coach who's supposed to be at the top of that lasagna, so to speak, right? And then there's these other layers of people that come in and find their place in the lasagna. So how do you see your leadership layers right now?
Oh, good. Set me up to definitely forget someone, so thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah.
I put it in a lasagna, though.
Yeah,
so
no, I know.
if you forget an ingredient, what you say is that it's your mom's lasagna, and she doesn't give you all the ingredients because she can't let you know the whole recipe.
Exactly. So the secret sauce, right?
Yeah.
So I think that leadership starts with my coaching colleagues.
Okay.
Victoria Breslin, our grad assistant, this is her first season with us, and she has really taken the bull by the horn. She's helped us organize things. She's helped us kind of get a different point of view because she's out of college swimming 2 years, so she remembers what these guys are going through. Ben Verdi, our assistant coach, been out of college swimming now for about 10 years, but he's still hungry and he wants to get things going. So those guys are really kind of help pressing us forward. And then from a student athlete standpoint, obviously that leadership is with our senior captains, and you know they're grizzly old veterans. They've been there and done that. And what they've helped me do is really kind of get to that pulse of the team. Hey, coach, you know we're really struggling today. Can we do some yoga? Can we do stretching? We're getting a lot of physical pain. Okay, yeah, let's have a course change. So they've really stepped up this year. And then we have our underclassmen, and those individuals. We have juniors who are starting to take the reins of the leadership next year. We have our sophomores who are just finding their footing in college. They've gone through the mess of freshman year, and they're like, it's his old hat, but they get that clarity. And then we have our freshmen, and well, they're swimmers. They've been doing this a long time, but they haven't had the ability, or they haven't been required to juggle getting themselves places and having to make all their own decisions. And so you see the leadership by them taking control of themselves,
Yeah.
and then making others accountable once they figure that out.
Do you feel in the world of swimming and diving, because in other sports we could see a senior get ousted by a freshman?
Yep.
Is it more true in swimming and diving that when your freshmen come in and you have your sophomores, juniors, seniors, that you're truly building? And there's, I mean, yeah, some people can maybe jump up, but do you think it's a more true approach of leveling up as you go through your time in school, as opposed to, you know, watching a basketball game where a true freshman could be out right away?
So swimming and diving are two separate sports, even though they're all together, right?
Yeah.
So we'll take kind of the swimming side of this first. The beautiful part about swimming is it's completely objective. You can do this time in this distance, and I can do this time in this distance, and it very quickly sets up a depth chart, and it doesn't matter what school, what year in school you are. So as a freshman, you can come in and you can be the fastest on the team. And really, when we're looking at bringing in recruits, we're looking and bringing in people that are going to be immediate contributors.
Yeah. That's
what we're looking for. And so we're really proud of the people that we have coming in next year. Diving is different. Diving is a subjective sport. So you do your dive, and then you have officials who then judge you on a numerical basis. And so what we've found with our diving is that is kind of that progression.
Yeah.
So Justin Byrne, who made the national diving qualification meet as a freshman in 2021, he already qualified for the this season 22-23 diving qualification, and we can see him progressing. He's getting stronger. We see him hitting the dives cleaner. We see the fundamentals becoming more finite, and so I see that in diving more than swimming. But everybody can make a contribution every day.
Final note, do you still have fun in the pool?
The best part of my day is coaching. That's it, man. That's where the magic sauce. That's where everything happens.
Yeah.
You know, it's at the Ithaca meet on Saturday. We had our sophomore swimmer from Syracuse, Bilal Ali. He won the men's 200 freestyle, and I got the shakes because it's special. And you know, when you have those team meetings and you have 45 sets of eyes looking at you, it's special. So yeah, it's fun. It's awesome. Can't get enough of it sometimes.
That coming from Adam Zaczkowski. We have plenty more coming up this season, hoping that we get to throw him in the pool, which is throwing him home. So it's really a great thing knowing that if it happens, then there's a lot of success that has come through the hard work, dedication, and determination. At the same time, you're putting him where he wants to be. So it's a very cool thing. For myself, Dan Tortora, Adam Zaczkowski, this has been an all-new edition of the Dolphin Dive. You can find this and so much more in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with all of LeMoyne College. And we appreciate you for being here, and thank you for supporting our community. Adam, as always, thank you.
Dan, thank you so much.
We'll talk with you all soon. Stay safe.